Dear friends, we apologize for technical disruptions. Perhaps YouTube had a lot of overload because of Sunday. I will be sharing with you, and I hope that you can watch this program again in recording. Let us come back now to the very important factors in the process of working in meditation. What is meditation? Meditation is direct interaction, direct work with the primary torsion field. But, dear friends, the primary torsion field contains the information which is divided into the levels, which are defined by the internal state of vibrational effect of the information itself. For example, heavy information, aggression, anger is in the lower spaces. The information of higher vibration, the information of light, spirit, love is in the higher spaces. Meditation is the direct work with the informational field of the torsion field or noosphere, as it was referred to by Vernadsky. All of these processes, dear friends, of interaction of the human being, the mental interaction during meditation can become intensified. For example, if you are doing something with a serious attitude during the process of creation, and you have serious attitude, it means that the force field of your thoughts and what you're doing has a very high frequency and a very high charge of energy, which then produces a certain effect. A meditation is an instrument. There are many different types of meditation. Some of them are related to magic rituals which are carried out by some sects, even until today. Even nowadays, this is quite widespread in sects which are carrying out the rituals through the meditation. So meditation is an instrument, but working in meditation, a person can also deal with the divine state and produce divine effects, divine reality. Spiritually developing people need to realize that there are cosmic instruments which create reality, which create dimensional realities, and these instruments are just a tool, but who works with these instruments, who interacts with these tools, and who this person is who is working with them in truth, in reality, defines the effect and result of the meditation. For example, I am observing the course of development of many people, and I can see once a person has mastered the meditative work, realized the work of sacred mechanisms, and has understood the quantum mechanisms, what the dimensions are, they have realized what reality actually is. And during a certain period of time, the person has reached heights in their life, and if all of a sudden, for some reason which can happen, a person may leave this process or changes from within and is no longer the light, is no longer kind and divine, stops interacting with the high frequency of information, but they know the instruments. What can happen in this case? Of course, it's very individual in every case, but nothing good can come out of it, and I can explain you why. Dear friends, when you are mastering possibilities and instruments, every person can see the results. Every thought of yours, every word of yours works. What does it mean? It creates the reality. It reproduces the day of our reality and the world in which we live. And when a person has mastered the instruments and then, for some egoic reason, changes from within or comes back to the old patterns of being, sometimes a person, after mastering the meditative instruments, after arriving at this process in their life, before this, they had been suffering, and of course, they have deserved that, even though they do not understand how they were doing it. But life will bring such a person to difficulties and troubles as a result of their life because of wrong thinking and doing. And then a person becomes different. They begin to work in meditation, have learned to work with informational fields, how to create reality. They have brought order into their life, financial situation, and so on. Everything is wonderful in their life, but then a person begins to play at some point and they feel that they want something so much and they just cross everything that they have been doing. Perhaps they have been on this path for 7, 8, 10 years. And the suffering that they had is far in the past. And they may want to reach a certain goal, but it may not be even according to their life plan, and it may just be originally derived not from the higher powers, the higher fields, higher mind, but the person is determined to achieve it no matter what, and they do achieve it, but as a result, they cannot see the happiness in it. They are suffering, they are frustrated, they are upset, they are blaming themselves, and ego, of course, can blame everyone around, but life does not become better. But this person remembers that I have practices, the teacher shared with me practices. Let me sit and work in these practices, and they do it. They begin to change the reality, but it is not changing, dear friends. And now I have mentioned what is related to many people. Why it is not changing when you come back to your practical work in meditation, but it is not giving you the result which you are expecting, which you are convinced that should happen based on your previous experience. But why isn't it happening again? Many ask themselves this question. Why before I would work in these practices and I would have result, but why there is no result now? Now, dear friends, I ask for your attention. If you understand what I'm about to share with you, you will always be experiencing the heights in your life, and you will always have the best results after your practices. It turns out it is a scientific evidence fact. Just a moment, dear friends. that your inner state, dear friends, is a sort of an instrument which in principle connects and links you to a certain frequency field which contains this or that information. For example, you have made a mistake. Before everything was good in your life and then it became bad. It means that you have made a mistake. It means that with your consciousness, with your thoughts, with your energy, you have resonated with the low frequency field where you were crying, suffering, you were upset, you were blaming, you were regretting, justifying, and so on. You were suffering. With your subtle bodies, you have identified yourself with this informational field, and so you are in this field. And then later, you remembered there is meditation that can help you. And while you're still in this informational field, you begin to work in the practice, applying sacred mechanisms, which we are going to talk about today, because there are a lot of silly things that people are talking about, and I'm saddened to hear it. That is why I will mention a bit more about sacred geometry. And so a person begins to work in their own frequency, which means their thoughts, their opinions, their beliefs, their intentions, their worldview, and even justifications of themselves, or blaming other people. So this is who they are in truth. And here there can be no self-deception. It is impossible. You may be able to deceive others, but not yourself. You will always be in resonance with the information field, which contains the course of events of your life. And you resonate with the field which you resonate with, which you correspond to. And here you cannot lie to yourself. You cannot deceive yourself. You will always resonate with the frequency which you radiate yourself. A kind person will always be in high frequency resonance because they are radiating this frequency. A greedy person, a person with self-interest, will always resonate with the same field that contains the same events that just reflect their state. And this is the key to realization. So when a person again begins to work in meditation after first having lost all attunements, after experiencing the low frequency, in this meditation now, this tool of meditation begins to reproduce the field of events in which a person is right now. And this field is just reflecting who the person is right now in this moment. And this is the key. People think that they can just remain evil and use tools and methods to change things, but no, it is deception, it is not truth. And this is the scientific fact. It can be trusted. You are always in resonance with the frequency which you radiate yourself. And this is the lore of the Creator and his creations. Creator is always identical with his creations. And here you cannot pretend. The field will just reproduce your pretense, your false state, and you may work in mechanisms in meditation, but to no avail. There is no result now. Whereas before, a person was in different state, in different feelings. A person radiated a different frequency, and they resonated before with a different field. This needs to be understood. That is why, from the very basic level, I teach you kindness, mercy, generosity, purity, because I know why you need it. I understand what a great result you can achieve Yes, of course, in principle, nowadays no one is dealing with the right education of people, just like what I witnessed when I was very young. And people are just floating in their life. People are aware that stealing and deceiving is bad, but no one is abiding by these principles. It means that majority of people are interacting with the low frequency field. People may complain about catastrophes, conflicts, but dear friends, every one of you is involved in this. Everyone. Why? Because people with their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings are interacting with the low frequency field and they pull out from there the informational events, and any thought of yours is actually a process of meditation. If you are thinking it, you are reproducing the reality. Today you are thinking about troubles and tomorrow you'll have even more troubles. Why? Because a large number of people are right now interacting with low frequency, and they are drawing from these fields problems and reproduce them. They manifest them into the life without even being aware of it. But regardless of whether they know or not, you are still responsible, you are still doing it, and you will unsuffer it. This is the principle of meditative work. In order for meditation to work and for you to achieve the highest results and state, the happiness which you are all dreaming about and you want so much in your life, but it has been given to you already. The highest has been given, but what you need to do is to resonate with it. You need to correspond to it. And sometimes I wonder how a person could have been on such a high level and then they fall so deep and they begin to work again in these mechanisms and practices, but there is no result. The result is only reflecting what a person is carrying in their soul, in their consciousness, in their thoughts, in their intentions. Do you understand, dear friends? This is the key to happiness. For meditations to give you the best results, and for your prayers, which is also type of meditation, to give you great result, you need to love, you need to be pure, you need to be the righteous person, open and a person with no greed. I'm looking at people and many people live in this inner state of greed, and they cannot even see this vice in themselves, at least in this life. They are completely absorbed by this vice. Yes, a person may even be attending courses and they are aware that they need to be helping others. This is what I am teaching you to be open, generous. I'm opening the secrets and knowledge for you. And a person knows they should not be greedy, but their inner state is like that. And they know Natalia Rodina said they should be helping poor people, and some people may not be receiving wages, and they are giving these people 100 hryvnias, but they're not given 10,000 hryvnias, even though they have this possibility. Natalia Rodina said to be sharing, and so I will be giving these people 100 hryvnias. But dear people, dear friends, what is 100 hryvnias? It's nothing. But such a person may be thinking, I'm no longer greedy. I have given 100 hryvnias to a person who has not received wages for 6 months. But this 100 hryvnias is not necessary for the person. It does not play any role in their life. Your help should be true help. It should be the actual help that can actually bring good to the life of this person so that they feel this help, so that this help would reflect your generosity, your abundance. And this is the game. This is just a play. This is self-deception. Yes, a person knows they need to be helping, so they just do it like that by giving 100 hryvnias. This is just deception and lies. The help should be the true help when you are doing something for another person and you can really help them instead of just ticking a box that you have helped somebody. I am talking today with you about the genuine inner state, which plays the most important role. Yes, Sergei Arkadyevich. I wanted to say good evening, everyone. I was dealing with the uh, technical aspects, and I wanted to ask the question. There are also a type of people who are professional beggars, who just want to live at the expense of others and they just expect help. I think that here, of course, Sergei Arkadyevich is right, and there are some people like that. There are professional beggars indeed. They live the life like that. They cannot even afford in their thoughts to think about the change. But we're not talking about beggars. We're talking about a person who is doing good for others and they know that they want good things in their life and first they need to do it for others. Regarding professional beggars, yes, some people just do not want to be working. They do not want to do anything. They expecting some benefits, some pension, but they do not want to do much. And of course, you should not be helping such people. By helping such people, you contribute to their state of poverty because we reach prosperity, abundance, and wealth by means of our work, our right attitude to life, our right understanding, and first and foremost, hard working nature. Here we should apply wisdom. Sergei Arkadyevich, this is a mistake of many of my students. When they come to study with me, many of them think that spiritual development is just the surface and everything is on this surface. Yes and no, dear friends. I would say that spiritual development is the depth, is the volume, multifacetedness, multifunctionality, depth in everything, and one event, one aspect can be viewed in different ways. Yes, to some person you should help, you should be helping in this case if a person is working hard but they just did not receive wages. But if a person is not doing anything, just expecting money, then of course you should not be helping. Life is multifaceted and every person has their own identical identity and unique in a state, and this is unique to just this person. And of course, here we need to apply wisdom, wisdom and understanding that indeed we need to look profoundly at every situation. Again, we continued our program today with some disruptions, and I remember the words of a lady who mentioned that spiritual development confuses her. On the contrary, the process of spiritual development, revealing your possibilities as a human being, as a creator, gives you the answers to all of your inner states and the states of other people. When a person is developed, they possess knowledge, and knowledge expands their consciousness. An expanded consciousness enables a person to understand everything correctly, to have the right understanding of each situation, event, everything that is happening, and to understand it through the lens of truth. And it can only open in a person if a person has knowledge. When a person is in the necessary inner vibrational state, then the higher plane is revealed to the person, and the person's brain is loaded with the programs which explain a person, their own life, and the life of other people. Spiritual development can never tangle you, can never confuse. It clarifies everything. It explains to you why things are like that or like that in this person's life and your own life. And you change your inner state, become a good person, which is the basis of life, prosperity, abundance. Become like that, and happiness is coming. But people do not want to become good. Many people even like to be angry. And since childhood, many children have been grown up like this, in greed, in anger. People grow and upbring their children in this state without realizing that children are connected to the low frequency reality, and in their own thoughts they are interacting with this field and they are creating their life, although they're still children. This is the secret, your own inner state. Yes, as I promised today, I would like to mention sacred geometry as a master, as an expert, as a psychologist and scientist. I understand the meaning of sacred symbolism. Once I heard an opinion about a sect which uses sacred symbolism, swastika, six-pointed star, and so on. And they say that these people are bad, that they are doing so. Well, maybe they are bad, but the instruments have nothing to do with the inner state of these people. Just like a knife which you use to cut bread, it is just a tool that cuts your bread, or an apple. It is just a tool. But a person can use this knife to cut an apple or even murder a person. Can you see the difference? The instruments always remain instruments. And thanks to these instruments, we have life. We are alive. The blood is flowing in us. We are filled with plasma and ether. Thanks to the existence of these instruments, everything is created based on these instruments, sacred tools. But how people use them is a different matter, and that's why I'm teaching you to be kind. I understand there are instruments which I'm revealing to you, but if an unkind person in low frequency state works with these instruments, then these tools will create for this person bad reality. Instruments never analyze anything. They're just tools, a working instrument which reproduce the force currents of energy, which then manifest the world which we see. And if a kind person works with these instruments, then in their life and around them, they only create this goodness. But if it's a sect, a destructive sect, then these instruments will continue destroying the world because they are just instruments. They do not analyze anything, they are just tools. And again, I will come back to the secrets of meditation. By mastering instruments and working in these mechanisms, always be vigilant in what state you are working in them. And even if your inner state is not the best. There are some practices which can transform your low state to a high inner state. Then in this case, when you begin your meditative work, set an intention to raise your vibration to the highest level. Then in this case, you can draw yourself from this low frequency and raise yourself to a very high level. And you will definitely see and realize it, how your inner state will change. You will feel inwardly different. You will feel uplifted and joyful. And you will begin by forgiving yourself first. Forgiveness is the basis which enables a person to rise higher. And if you manage to forgive yourself and you do it in the right way, then in this case, you will feel a completely different reality in your life. And another aspect which I need to mention, because we have entered the cycle of life of the fourth dimension. And this dimension, what does it mean? You have started observing time. Before, it was not so. You were not observing time like that. Now you see the fast pace of time. This unit of measurement is now in your life, and you can see how fast flowing time is. On the one hand, it's good for people who are developing, but not for those who are not doing anything. Those who are vigilant to their inner state, their goals, their aspirations, their desires, their life tasks and accomplishments, such people can see that the time within a very short period of time, after they have worked over a certain situation, they have realized that something wasn't right in their life, and they have changed, they have decided to change it, to create a different reality. And they begin to work in meditation and begin to shape a different reality, and they can see how instantly the reality is reproduced. For example, a person has worked in the practice of forgiveness with somebody. Then this somebody, in 5 minutes or maybe even during meditation, is given a call to this person. So, due to the fast pace of time now, everything is accelerated, everything has become more intense and more fast. And when a person realizes it, and when they are aware, when they are serious, when their attitude is serious, and when they work on themselves, when they know what they need to change in themselves, then meditative work gives such a person a wonderful result. Bad results can be a result, it may not be exactly right, but if a person is unkind, then they will always have a bad result. When we say bad meditative work, meditation never analyzes anything. A person is doing a meditation and they have this or that result. Another aspect which I need to mention, during our classes I tell my students that bad meditation means there is the lack of inner concentration, and there is the absence of right visualization. When a person has instruments, they have entered the process of working with subtle fields and reality, they are shaping their reality, and then they begin to switch between different thoughts. Thoughts are jumping, and they are jumping with their thoughts between different levels of reality. And this is bad work. There is no necessary inner core and concentration on one process. When a person is fully focused and is just working with the subtle space, shaping their reality of life. That is why, when you begin your meditation, you need to relax fully and let go of everything. What does it mean? Detach from this reality, this world, and the events which are around you, at least for 20-30 minutes. You can't do it. It is the way it is right now in your life until you have changed it. And when you begin meditation in this detached state, you have the chance to change this reality. You can change bad for good, negative to positive, the absence of health to the good health. But first you need to completely detach. What happens to the subtle plane? Once you have detached, you are unplugging yourself energetically from the existing informational field of your own life, which is the way it is right now. If you are suffering or having some problems, it is a fact of your life. And if you have it, it means you are in this field. But when you detach from it, it goes into the background. And you then begin to work with higher frequency. You begin to raise yourself, which enables you to work with the different pure information, draw it into your life, and with your inner state of an observer, you begin to manifest, you begin to form your reality with your inner state. This is how it works. There is no magic here, no secrets. This is the science of how everything is. You cannot just ignore it. You just need to understand how it works, and then you will always be experiencing the best in your life, in your reality. There is a saying, where your thoughts are, you are. And if your thoughts are in politics, you are there. If your thoughts are in possibilities, elevated spiritual aspirations, goals, unlocking different realities for yourself, there you are. It means you are interacting with this informational field. And it means that this spiritual, pure, informational, creative field is creating your current day. And if you know how to do it in meditation, dear friends, a wonderful life is guaranteed. Just check it for yourself, test it. It's so wonderful if people, and every one of them is now involved in the creation of reality. If all of them became kind people, would we see what we see? No. We would have a wonderful, creative, positive life because everyone takes part in this process of forming our today and tomorrow. And if majority of people are living in sadness, despondency, frustration, fear, they are lost, they are blaming, accusing, then what life can they create? They are interacting with such a field, and this is what they are creating in their life. And this is what I am telling you, and it can be explained from the perspective of science. Spiritual development does not mean wearing amulets or some decorations, embellishments or long skirts. This is knowledge, great divine knowledge, the knowledge of the higher mind. And this knowledge does not confuse, on the contrary, it clarifies, puts everything in order, and explains everything in the right way. not in the illusory way, because knowledge, divine knowledge, cannot be illusory. The Creator created the knowledge. He creates. The Supreme Mind created knowledge. And he cannot create untruth or deception. No, he cannot do it. He created the highest science, which can explain everything, and in the right way. Spiritual development is your life of revealing this knowledge, of discovering this knowledge of creation. Just like Lomonosov used to say, I want to understand the original particle, the monad. I want to understand how Creator created everything. And when people want to know how everything is created, when they become divine, when they discover the truth, the knowledge, they can explain everything to themselves and another person. Can such a person have a bad life when a person is godlike? The life would be wonderful. And if people had the knowledge of the higher mind, of the Creator, would we be living like that? No, people would be just happy. The world would just live in peace. I am ready for your questions. The word to Sergei Arkadyevich. I wanted to pause on the aspect of collective meditation. You have mentioned, Natalia Vladimirovna, that meditation is an instrument, and depending on who conducts meditation determines the result. And if we take collective meditation, which is quite popular nowadays for people to get together and they do meditation all together at a certain time, the work that they're doing is either related to a certain problem or a goal that they set. Can this help or prevent? What is your opinion? And if this is right, how to do it correctly? I will say the following. It depends who is involved in this meditation, what force field the person has when they are doing this work. When, for example, the community of people have the teacher whose vibrations are very high, then the teacher with their vibration, with their love, with their light, frequency, knowledge, everything plays a role here. The knowledge also is very important. Without knowledge, the vibration will be low. The love that teacher has. Love means that this person is connected to the highest creative potential, the highest energy, and naturally they conduct this love. If a person is inwardly aware and conscious and has the inner desire to help this audience of people, then based on their potential, the levels of the participants who work in meditation will be also raised to the necessary level. Also, every participant who takes part in the collective meditation, which we also do, contributes their own input, and depending on how the person is aligned with the community in which they are developing, how much they correspond to the state of love, generosity, and so on, then they bring this or that energy. Then this energy is combined, is unified, and creates the unified potential. And this is the high level of consciousness. When every person is connected to this unified field, which becomes very strong, because through the high frequency of teacher, All students will always be a little bit lower in their vibration, and if it's a true master, their frequency will always be higher, which helps the students to connect to the teacher, and the teacher is connected to the highest field, and they distribute the energy, the highest energy, to all participants. That is why such meditation gives very good results and helps everyone, even those who do not have a high vibration, but they are inspired, they are determined. Yes, they may not have reached it yet, but they want to do it. But who can help? Then in this collective field, every group of developed people create their field of consciousness, their own collective consciousness. For example, I can mention our center, our academy, our audience. There are a lot of people studying from many countries, and people are very different. They are located in different parts of the world. But when we are doing collective meditation, everyone who is involved in this process receives a very high impulse of energy, and this can help a person. They can take this energy to resolve a problem, to restore their health, to harmonize their family relationships, or to achieve a certain goal, maybe to buy something, to do things in their social life. So a person can direct this energy at different aspects of their reality. What else I would like to say? What is very important, it's good that you have asked this question. Who is your teacher? Where you are studying? And I will explain you why, how these energies work. When a person begins to study, inwardly they are in a passive state. They want to receive knowledge. They want somebody to share this knowledge with them, somebody to teach them and help them. They have the inner request, and this inner request of a person enables a person to find the master, the teacher, who this person corresponds to. Do you understand this? So every person with their inner desire, their inner request, create the force field, which then searches for the master who would be similar, who would create this resonance. And when you find a teacher, you find the teacher who you are ready for, who you need right now, who you correspond to. People come to me and say, we have studied with this and that teacher, and that's wonderful. This was then, and it means that then you corresponded to that teacher, an informational field with your own inner state. You attracted this teacher into your life. When you come to the teacher, you may mention sometimes, but with those teachers we did not have the best result. Why? Whereas now we have these results because back then your vibration was reflecting the state, the level of that master, and every master has their level. After interacting with this master, you have received something, the knowledge, and the knowledge which you needed then in that period of your life. But the development means it's a process and continuous growth. When you have learned everything with that master and you see there is no more development, everything is just repeated, you realize you need to move on, and then you meet another master. Usually it happens this way. Sometimes it can be different. Because it's not just the flat surface, dear friends, this is the volume, and everyone has their own experience, but you should always be grateful for each master, for each person in your life, and even enemy in your life, because they have taught you a lesson which probably was very meaningful in your life. Everything has a reason in your life. Everything has the reason. And again, speaking of the master, here there is a rule and you need to understand that every master has their own vibrational frequency. They interact with a certain informational field, certain vibration, which, depending on who this master is, if they are a true master, a true teacher, if they are loyal, dedicated, devoted to God the Creator, and they cannot be wavered, they cannot be shaken, they are faithful. It means the power is great in them. And of course, how can you understand that this is the master of the highest level? You can determine it by the presence of knowledge. If the master can answer any questions that you may have, it means they interact with the highest frequency, and this master is the highest. The unprepared master cannot interact with the pure source. It is impossible. According to the laws of cosmos, quantum physics, it's impossible. A master can only interact with the field and information which they conform to, no more than and no less. Every master is the source of love. How can you understand that this is the true master? They love. This master loves everybody and everybody. They forgive. They do not even forgive. There is no need for it because they are never offended, because they have understanding of everybody and everything. When there is this pure source of love, it is the source of life, of everything. God is love. And if a person has this love, then this master is the source of life. Life flows through this master. They are the conductor of life, of light. But not every master can reach this state of love. It is the highest task and the highest state. Every master is love. They are the carrier of love, radiator of love. The love is light. And when you meet a master and you see their love, their care, you can understand their inner desire to help you and their desire to give everything, to just take care and help, then you can trust this master. If you see that they are just looking into your pocket or asking what position you hold, or maybe you are jobless, how much money you may have, then one needs to run from such masters in order not to make mistakes, and you will never be mistaken if you make the right choice indeed. In order not to make mistakes, you need to discover your nature. I must tell you that within every one of you is the perfect treasure, and this treasure is you. You just need to unlock it, and you unlock it thanks to the knowledge. You obtain knowledge when you go to study, to learn, to work on yourself, yes, to learn even at 90 years old, at 20, at 7 years old, at 3 years old, yes, at all times. For as long as we live, I will be learning as well. For as long as I live here on this earth and even in different worlds, I will only stop learning in paradise, just like you, because there is nothing to learn. Everything is reflected there, what has been learned. But until we reach that point, we will be studying, we will be learning, and it's so wonderful when you love learning. It is so interesting every time you discover something new and you apply these new things in your life. You acquire new experience, new possibilities which you did not know before. I cannot understand people who are unwilling to learn. It is so fascinating. It is so wonderful. It's the new stages of you, of who you are. You discover something new about yourself, and which opens new facets of yourself. When you live such life, how can we talk about some troubles? They are not in your life because you interact with a different frequency, field, and state. You are very different, and a different life is yours. But you need to learn. You have been deceived for many years by those who were telling you you need to put a bracelet and happiness is guaranteed. But this is deception. It can work for as long as you are convinced in its effects, but then you realize it was just deception. If you want to be deceived, then of course such things confuse a person. You come to a master and they tell you put this amulet, this bracelet, then you need to knock 12 times with your head on the floor. And one day I boarded the plane and a woman was sitting and using a little hammer knocking on her head. And perhaps she met a master like this who has told her to knock like this, on her forehead. And people are boarding the plane and that woman was sitting and doing it. It can cause brain concussion, and this is just silliness. If you want to unlock psychic abilities, yes, it is possible, but not by means of this method. The methods are very different, as you know. It is not the hammer on your head. So if you are on the right path of development, when you discover the highest knowledge, when you become scientists in your own lives, then this is your development. Development is not about amulets, some necklaces. Well, yes, you can wear it as jewelry. No, not more than that. The power is within you. The treasure is in you. You are these instruments. You are creators. You are the children of the Supreme Mind. This is who you are. And this is what you need to do to develop yourself. It is not easy, dear friends. I cannot say it's easy, but it's so interesting. Very interesting. At least because a person at some point is no longer feeling that they are just a person. They feel their groundness. They are divine. They are the creator. They are love. They are stillness. They are happiness. They are joy. Inner peace. Joy. When you understand this, then there is no higher happiness that you can experience on this earth. Your questions Now it happened so that you answered nearly all questions. An interesting question came from Victor. At the beginning of my path, I would not say I corresponded to you as my teacher. So, what is the secret? Because I became your student. I remember very well. You are on this path, studying with us for about 10 years now, and I remember the first time we met. It was the city of Dnipropetrovsk, now it is Dnipro. I remember you came with your wife. I was looking at you and I could see your potential. And first of all, I could see you were not an ordinary person, but the circumstances of your life brought you to certain destruction. And I realized there was potential in you. I asked myself a question. Am I able to draw you from the troubles that you are trapped in? Because you had the potential of spirit and the potential for this high knowledge. You were not an ordinary person. I will not be revealing these secrets now, but I was realizing that the profession you had helped you understand what sacred geometry is, what spiritual science is, what meditation is. I understood that you had this initial knowledge, and some schools even prepare special people like this who know what this knowledge means. And I wanted to help you. And you may have noticed that during your period of studying, a lot of attention was paid to you, and you would be asking many questions. I would answer your questions, but these questions were related to every student present in the group. And I'm grateful to the Creator. And I'm not giving this reward to myself. Without the Creator, I would not be able to do anything. I am grateful to Him in eternity for such students of mine who continue the path, who have been studying for so many years, who have achieved such results. And we have been doing so many things together. I remember even when your grandchildren were born, how they were growing and developing. All of these years of our life are our story, which is a very wonderful story. Yes, there were moments when Rodina had to reprimand, yes, but this was always beneficial. After this, you would rise even higher and you would have even higher aspirations. And this is the path in eternity, the path of accomplishments, which reveals new possibilities for you. Now you have completed the 6th level, a very high level of preparation. And yes, you had to change and realize many things, but this reward is not mine. I want to give this reward back to the Creator, God, the Supreme Mind, because everything He has accomplished, everything He has done for me, for you, as my students, is only His reward. I will only be grateful to Him for such students who have been studying for so many years and who have achieved such heights of their life. Thank you, Creator, for everything. The next question, Sergei Arkadyevich. There is a question from Laura from England. The woman of faith said that in the church the priest does not allow to use meditation, explaining that this is not from God. Why is he saying so? I would like to also draw a parallel, Natalia Vladimirovna. People come to church on Sundays and they pray all together. Can we compare it with collective meditation? And can it be possible that the church prohibits meditation because they are feeling competitive? I would just want to answer with a sigh to this question. Dear friends, if you knew the history, you would understand what the church is. Any church is under the authorities, and it was the organ of power, and so to talk about it is futile. But a prayer and meditation are just one state, but just expressed in different forms. All prohibitions exist to hold a person in fear. When a person is in fear, they can be subdued, they can be manipulated, they may not be answered their questions. A person comes to the church and asks, but why can't I meditate? Can you explain me, please? And of course, the church people cannot answer honestly this question. They cannot say these are our prohibitions to frighten you, to prohibit, and to prevent you from developing, for you to remain slaves, to come in misery, pray and live in misery. And this is an easy way for us to manipulate you. They consider a person to be a slave, a herd, which needs to be controlled. So, yes, they may be hiding it with their prohibitions, but meditation is a state of God. Jesus, who they depict crucified on the cross, also used meditation. Why are they not telling people about it? They perform different rituals to drink blood, to eat body. Are they vampires? This is my blood, please have drink it, the blood of Jesus. Do you think Jesus would want you to drink his blood? Do you think that Jesus, who served you, who developed you, wants you to eat his body? Do you think he was insane or vampire? Dear friends, you should not be drinking anybody's blood to eat anybody's body. You need to pray, you need to be kind, you need to know the mechanisms of how to create the reality of your life, to manage your life, your reality, and bring order to your life and everything in your life. For that, you don't need to drink somebody's blood or eat somebody's body. This is the vampirism. These are the rituals of vampirism, to drink blood and eat the body of Jesus. Just begin to think and analyze what you are doing, what it is in truth. I can tell you, dear friends, that about 20 years ago, I dedicated a lot of time to studying the church, just so that my conscience is clear when my time comes to leave this planet. And of course, I bear responsibility for everything I have done. And many years ago, I would come to the church and I would tell them about the true knowledge. But what they told me, no, we cannot tell such things. we are at work, we will be dismissed. And when they told me they were just at work, I left them alone, and I never came back to it. I began the development of humanity on my own. Why I did so, dear friends? What was my plan? I realized what was coming. I could see it. I understood it. I was shown the events and turmoil that were coming to the planet, and I understood that it could have been prevented, but only if people massively began to develop. I knew that people come to the church with a hope for help and understanding, and if the priests would share with people the right knowledge, they would be developing their audience of people. And if they have shared this knowledge with the people, then today we would not have so much pain and suffering. People would have changed for better. But we have what we have, and nothing can be done. I realized they were at work, and they served different aspects of their life. They had different tasks in their life. They could be dismissed. So I realized church was not the place of spirituality. Even though there are many good people who serve in the church, they know the true laws, and they do everything to stay there and serve people in truth. We cannot say that everything is bad in a church. No, dear friends, every church has their own guardian seraphim, angels, pure divine beings who, through informational channels, as you know, there are domes above the church, and the energy descends through these channels. There are divine beings who are appointed to this or that church. Regarding the prayer in the church, if you pay attention to what thoughts people have when they come to the church, they only come there to ask, help, give, but none of these people can ask a question. What have you given others before you ask? If you want something, you need to resonate with the field where you are given. And just what we have been talking about, you need to be a giver, you need to be a helper, you need to be forgiving yourself first, and then you may not even go to the church. It will be given to you because you have resonated with the field where you are given and you give. But people go to the church only to ask, give and help. First, you need to learn to give, to help, to support, and develop, and understand, and accept, and express gratitude to everybody for everything, always in eternity. Today it seems that we have talked about very simple things, the truths. But can everybody genuinely be like that? It is easy to seem, but very difficult to be kind, generous, open, forgiving, loving. Is everybody ready to love absolutely everybody, no matter what profession they have or how much money they have? What matters is if a person has the soul, mercy, and what they might need. Learn to be kind, good people, and only think good, kind thoughts. Leave them in your soul, in your consciousness, and instantly you will be interacting with the highest divine field. Love each other. Do not be looking around for enemies. Every person is your teacher. Every person as a teacher contributes to your life, although it's not easy. Our program is coming to an end. We apologize for the disruptions. We will be conducting our broadcasts during the week, and I would like to remind you on the 25th of October 2025, 6 p.m. Moldovan time, we have the meeting with you. During this meeting, I will answer your questions. I understand you need it, and I will help you to understand your difficulties or troubles. And of course, I will work with you in our meditation. I will fill you with light, success, prosperity, wealth, wonderful life. I will breathe into you the seed of spirit, which will help you to come to God, light, knowledge, and development. And for now, I'm saying goodbye. Of course, I have missed you, and you may have felt it. I missed you all. I missed my beloved students. I love you. Stay strong. Our program today was basically for you. And remember, there are no past students. There are stages of growth, of fall. If they happen, it means they are necessary, perhaps, to rise even higher and ascend even higher to the highest results in life. I wish you happiness. I love you, and I will see you very soon. Goodbye, dear friends.